Is there a motion to terminate Chief Freeman?
And I mean, unfortunately, we knew it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. So, but like I said, you have just some kind of...
Okay, let's get started on the conversation starting roller coaster. You have most likely been living under a rock if you haven't heard about Tiffany Henyard by now. Henyard, the supervisor of Thornton Township and the mayor of Dalton, Illinois, has been in the news for all the wrong reasons. What began as rumors of poor leadership and management has now descended into complete turmoil, complete with federal investigations, restraining orders, and a fed-up community. What is actually happening with this super mayor who used to have a strong hold on the political scene? Is she going to lose everything? There is a lot of drama here, so let's dissect it. Let's start by discussing a startling court decision. A Cook County court recently intervened and put a stop to Tiffany Henyard's contentious appointments. Yes, exactly. Without obtaining the necessary consent from the Village Board of Trustees, she attempted to surreptitiously appoint a new police chief, town administrator, and village attorney. Sounds dubious, doesn't it? The court was not amenable to this obvious attempt at power grab. Judge Thaddeus Wilson did more than simply slap her. She was completely prohibited from attending those appointments by the restraining order he imposed. This is more than simply a small-town mayor receiving a slight. This is a full-scale court battle. Even more absurd is the fact that these were important jobs that essentially run the municipality, not merely small appointments. Henyard believed she could go around the system, but the judge made it very evident that she is not authorized to do so. Furthermore, the judge threatened to hold her in contempt of court if she continued to push for these appointments. He would. Is it possible for a current mayor to be found in contempt for disobeying a court order? That's drama on a whole other level. However, Henyard's overstepping of her legal bounds is not the only issue here. Her poor administration is the subject of a much larger narrative, because it basically says, hey, your authority isn't unchecked, and the courts are looking closely. This court decision is a major setback, and she is being watched by more than just the courts. Additionally, a federal inquiry is in the works. Yes, the FBI is investigating her and how she has handled her responsibilities as Thornton Township Supervisor and Dalton Mayor. When the federal government gets involved, it's serious, as we all know. Subpoenas and even contracts involving some of Henyard's closest associates have been issued by them. Some significant expenditure problems are being uncovered by the study. According to rumors, Henyard has been using taxpayer funds to indulge in extravagant travel, elegant meals, and other indulgences. A startling $40,000 spent on Amazon purchases in a single day is among the most startling findings. Who, in all honesty, spends that much money on Amazon, especially when it's not their money? With a strong emphasis on Henyard's handling, or rather mishandling, of public cash, the feds are looking everywhere. Amazon received a purchase of more than $40,000 in a single day. Additionally, the most important factor is, speaking of poor administration, the residents of Thornton Township and Dalton have had enough. Locals are incensed and are protesting in the streets, calling on Henyard to resign and demanding answers. Is it truly your fault? The town's general fund is in the negative by $365 million, and the mayor is abusing public funds for his own benefit. Anybody would be furious. It's not just the money that has the neighborhood furious. These communities are in total disarray as a result of a lack of openness, secrecy, and general poor administration. The protests taking place in Thornton and Dalton are among the most potent manifestations of this rage, with signs that read, "Take our township back," and "Henyard must go." The town's residents are demonstrating. There are more than a few irate locals participating in these protests. There is a sizable and expanding group of people who believe that the person they chose to lead them has deceived and taken advantage of them. It's not just the locals either. The board's trustees, who Henyard collaborates with, are also tired. They are not going to let this go unpunished because they are the ones who brought her to court for her unlawful appointments. Let's now focus on a specific legal dispute that is intensifying. Let's introduce Gerald Jones, a former Thornton Township employee who is suing the township for retaliatory termination. His tale is startling. Jones alleges that Henyard's close associate Keith Price harassed and threatened him after he reported a mouse problem at the township's food distribution program. After Jones raised the alarm about the rodent problem, Price, who was assigned to oversee the food assistance program, allegedly made his life extremely difficult. Jones claims he was forced to quit his job because the threats became so serious. This is outright intimidation, not just bullying at work. What was Henyard up to during this whole ordeal? Nothing at all. The fact that she sat back and let Price get away with it gives a bad impression of how she is leading. Jones's personal experience is not the only reason he is suing Thornton Township. It concerns a more extensive pattern of abuse and reprisals within Henyard's government. The toxic workplace that appears to be the standard in Thornton Township is brought to light by Jones's case. Mistreatment of a single employee is not the only issue. Jones is not the only person speaking out about a culture of intimidation and fear that has been allowed to fester. There is a pervasive problem with the township's leadership as more former workers start to come forward with their own accounts of harassment and retaliation. What will happen to Tiffany Henyard next? It's difficult to say for sure, but it appears that she is rapidly losing her influence. She is fighting on all fronts as a result of the court decision against her, the impending federal investigation, and the mounting public outcry. And let's not forget the restraining orders. This isn't just about her questionable appointments anymore. It's about the entire structure of governance in Dalton and Thornton Township being called into question. Henyard's leadership is under fire and the clock is ticking on her political future. It's clear that Henyard is rapidly losing her grip on power. One local resident's comment perfectly sums it up. Tiffany is losing her stronghold over the trustees and she can't handle it. She got way too greedy and her time is coming to an end. That's the feeling on the ground. People are fed up and demand change. Henyard's once firm grip on the Board of Trustees is slipping, and she's scrambling to hold on to whatever power she has left. With investigations ongoing and lawsuits stacking up, it's only a matter of time before it all comes crashing down. But it's not just the legal troubles causing problems. Public perception is turning against her in a big way. More and more people are speaking out, questioning how she's been able to drag this out for so long without facing any real consequences. One fan comment perfectly captures it. Why is it that this crook has stretched these charges out so long when an average citizen would already be in jail? Double standards in the law again. It's a question on everyone's mind, and it's only fueling the fire of public outrage. True to her form, Henyard isn't backing down without a fight. She's come out swinging with her personal attorney, claiming she's the victim of a smear campaign masterminded by a corrupt board of trustees. Her lawyer even went as far as to suggest that it's all a political power grab, with the trustees trying to take over the mayor's office. It's a bold accusation, but it's not resonating with many. The evidence against Henyard keeps piling up, and the more she pushes back, the more convinced people become that she's guilty of the very thing she's been accused of. Her defiance is only making matters worse. Even after the restraining order was issued, Henyard acted as if nothing had changed. Reports say she even instructed her appointees to keep showing up for work, despite the court's clear ruling that they couldn't take office. This kind of blatant disregard for the law is exactly why so many people are fed up with her leadership. It's one thing to make a mistake, but it's another to act like the rules don't apply to you. So what's next? The next court date is set for October 23rd, and there's a lot at stake. Will the court finally hold Henrio in contempt for ignoring its orders? Will the FBI gather enough evidence to escalate things? Or will she somehow manage to wriggle out of this mess, as she has so many times before? No one knows for sure, but one thing's certain, this story is far from over. Henrio in court today over illegal appointments she allegedly made for several positions inside the village. As we await the next chapter in this political saga, the residents of Dalton and Thornton Township are left wondering what the future holds for their communities. They're tired of the scandals, the lawsuits, and the constant drama. All they want is a leader who will focus on addressing the real issues, like the town's financial mess and the lack of basic services. But with Henyard still clinging to power, it's hard to see how that's going to happen anytime soon. What do you think? Is Tiffany Henyard's time finally up? Or will she manage to hold on to her position despite everything that's happened? More importantly, how long will it take for the people of Dalton and Thornton Township to get the leadership they truly deserve? More importantly, how long will it take for the people of Dalton and Thornton Township to get the leadership they truly deserve? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's keep this conversation going.